Hey guys, it's Angelo, and welcome to my Windwalker Monk guide for Legion's patch 7.3.5. The Windwalker is currently a very strong damage dealer, arguably ranking under the best in the entire game currently, as their damage dynamics fit exceptionally well into Antorus, the Burning Throne, as well as the Mythic Plus environment, compared to the Tomb of Sargeras, where the monk struggled in comparison to most of the other specs in the game. The playstyle, which has always made the monk unique, is now its greatest blessing, as the rewards of playing a smooth, clean and thoughtful Windwalker Monk are now shown in form of incredibly high damage output. Compared to previous patches, the Windwalker competes in single target damage, AoE damage, as well as formidable cleave damage, which all allow the spec to be competitive in every niche of gaming, rather than completely excelling in one while struggling in others. In this guide, we'll be going over the monk's stat priority, the talents you will want to take, your rotation and cooldown usage, and the overall pros and cons of the spec. As not a lot has changed since patch 7.2.5, we can skip our usual little changes section this time around and focus more on the other sections in return. Now, should I forget anything you think is important in this guide, please let me know in the comments below, but keep in mind that I will cover the Windwalker's relics and traits, as well as best in slot legendaries in separate videos accordingly. Now, with that out of the way, my friends, let's go right ahead and have a look. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about what exactly the Windwalker Monk is. The Windwalker is a highly mobile, very versatile melee DPS spec which excels in current PvE content. Now, the monk does require practice and class knowledge, arguably more so than most other melee specs, which definitely make the monk stand out and make a good monk rare in comparison to other classes and specs. If you're planning on becoming a good monk, you want to be sure to bring time and patience with you in order to perfectionize your gameplay after practicing it. Now, that being said though, let's take a more detailed look at the class. When we're having a look at our stat priority, we find a very straightforward, easy to manage and actually quite comfortable stat priority in form of itemization. Your most important stat will definitely be agility, as it is so important because every ability you use will directly be modified by it. The only abilities not directly affected by your agility are your auto attacks, your touch of death, and your strike of the Windlord. Strike of the Windlord and your auto attacks actually scale with your weapon damage as well, and not just with the agility. So they will still deal more damage with more agility, don't get me wrong, they just scale directly with your weapon damage. Touch of Death scales with your stamina as well as your mastery, and now, since agility is found on all of your items except for your rings, your necklace and some trinkets, your agility gain will be pretty straightforward typically. Up next we have Mastery, and your Mastery, which is called Combo Strikes, will allow for your consecutive abilities after your first one to deal increased damage depending on the amount of Mastery you have. Now, the only catch here is that these combo strikes will only take effect if you do not use the same ability twice in a row, meaning you should never use an ability twice, but should rather chain or combo different abilities together. Since the Windwalker essentially evolves around the proper use of ability combos, your mastery is incredibly important, almost needless to say. After Mastery, you'll be going for a critical strike typically, which increases the chance of your spells and abilities to crit, as well as increasing their critical strike damage. After this, we have Versatility, which is essentially a simple buff to your damage output, healing, and survivability, but actually scales pretty neatly with the Windwalker. And finally, there's Haste, which increases your attack speed as well as your energy regeneration, while also reducing the cooldown of your Rising Sun Kick and your Fists of Fury. As both of these abilities are essential to your gameplay, but more on that later, Haste will become increasingly important the more targets you have. When it comes to our talents, things are actually very logical and tie in greatly to the gameplay mechanics that the Windwalker currently has. In our level 15 role, we'll most likely be playing with Eye of the Tiger, as this is a slight damage increase as well as a slight survivability buff, but G-Wave is definitely competitive, especially with your new 4-set bonus, or rather 2-set and 4-set bonus. Tiger's Lust will win out against both Chi Torpedo and Celerity in most situations, as it is a utility buff that can not only be used by you, but can be applied to your group members as well. Energizing Elixir in your level 45 row is a talent with the most min-maxing capabilities, as it will allow you an incredibly strong burst, as well as, should you choose using it this way, a very nice rotational reset when you find yourself in a sticky situation. Ascension can be used with your tier 21 bonus, but Energizing Elixir will still prove to be stronger if you've mastered its use. In your level 60 talent row, Ring of Peace is pretty strong in multiple situations and for ad management, but most of the time you'll most likely be running Leg Sweep. The Ox statue is strong in Mythic Plus, however, only if your tank truly struggles with aggro management, which is pretty rare nowadays, honestly. Now, your level 75 talent row gets a bit more diverse, and in all honesty, all three options are perfectly fine, but all three are strong in different situations. Healing Elixir is fine if you're facing a fight with very smooth damage that has low damage peaks, while Diffuse Magic is strong on fights with predictable magic damage that has high incoming damage peaks, for example Agromar or Argus the Unmaker or Portal Keeper Hazabel. Dampen Harm, on the other hand, is strong for any incoming physical damage, for example on the Garathi Wallbreaker, partially the Antoran High Command, or even the ads at Ionar. Your level 90 talent row becomes very straightforward again, with Hit Combo definitely being your go-to talent here in pretty much any situation. The talent synergizes perfectly with your mastery, and its management along with your combo strikes mastery are an integral part of the foundation of the Monk's damage. The Monk's rotation is incredibly unique due to the principle behind your mastery, of not using an ability twice in a row. This prevents the Monk to spam a high priority ability while doing so in a way that rewards the player beautifully. Generally, you will want to start the fight off with Storm, Earth and Fire, one of your two major cooldowns, followed by a Touch of Death, your second major cooldown, and then Rising Sun Kick, should you have the chi for it, and if not, you'll want to build it up with a Tiger Palm first. Follow this up by using your Energizing Elixir during your burst in order to refill your energy and chi, and to have enough of it to use Strike of the Windlord and chain this neatly together with your Fists of Fury. You want to be sure not to cancel your Fists of Fury early, or rather to clip it early, as every punch needs to land in order to maximize your output, so definitely keep an eye on your cast bar. Now, ideally, you will use your Whirling Dragon Punch next, and then close your rotation with another Rising Sun Kick if it is ready, followed by a Blackout Kick before repeating this process. During your burst, you want to be sure to reset your energy and chi with an Energizing Elixir, and then essentially pull the same rotation off again in order to maximize your early damage output. Now, the way you use Flying Serpent Kick can differ. Some use it in their opener in order to reach the boss and to start your combo strikes mastery, while others save it to escape a boss ability more easily. This, in all fairness, is completely up to you, and apart from this though, keep in mind that you should never use an ability twice in a row, as this will reset your mastery, which will severely hinder your damage for the next few seconds. Overall, the Monk is currently in an incredibly solid and competitive spot. High damage output paired with an incredibly versatile toolkit and superior scaling into the current tier, the spec offers engaging, fun and rewarding gameplay at the cost of, well, pretty much nothing really. Honestly, the only thing the Monk kind of struggles on would be split cleave fights or a very long, purely single target focused fight. Apart from that, the Windwalker is prepared to deal with any other situation thoroughly, be it AoE damage, raw, fast single target fights, cleave damage, or even a mix of any type of fight. This makes the spec incredibly strong in Antorus and just as strong in current Mythic Plus settings. The Windwalker does require knowledge of the class in order to execute your DPS rotation properly, and furthermore requires encounter knowledge in order for you to compete, or rather to properly prepare things like your Storm, Earth and Fire, your Whirling Dragon Punch, or anything else to maximize your damage. Now, a lot of the Monk's current strength does come from the 2-piece and 4-piece set bonuses, as those allow you to play with a very straightforward talent set that dishes out pretty crazy damage. Whether or not this will stay this way in the future, especially without the set pieces, will of course remain to be seen. As always, if I've missed anything important, please let me know in the comments below, and if you'd like to see more Monk content in the future, well, then have no fear, because there's more coming up. Special thanks once more to everyone supporting me over at Patreon. It's greatly appreciated and helps me out a lot, my friends. Now, as always, thank you so much for watching, enjoy patch 7.3.5, and I will see you all in the next one.